So let me because I'm really intrigued by your Reiki work.
Yeah.
And you mentioned like trauma and family. And is there something in Reiki? You know, I kind of feel like, you know, we operate in a lot of dimensions at one time. You know, people talk about the third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension, this and that. But like, say you're in front of someone. I feel like we influence if we're in a state of love, and someone is in trauma, regardless of whether that person can accept the state of love that you're in, you still are influencing that space, in the sense that you are who you are. You're in the state of love. But on those extreme cases, does Reiki talk about like distance healing? Does it talk about like how would that work? You know, because I find that to be intriguing. I know a lot of the things that I've worked on in my life that may have included the other, I've resolved without them being in front of me. And then when I see them again, they seem to be resolved too. How does Reiki address something like that?
So we do distance healing, but the best way is, so what we call it in Reiki is swords and cords.
Swords on the cord?
Swords and cords.
Okay.
So swords are, I mean, they're both like literally what they sound like that thing that's just like stuck in you. And then cords are like, it's not as abrupt as the sword. The cords are like, whether it's something from years ago that's just kind of slowly kept growing and
entangled in your energy.
Yes, and it might be a slow game. Or something that just, you literally, it just keeps kind of clawing at you and pulling you back. Like, those are those cords. And the interesting thing with Reiki is, like, people think, like, that mental work is just all in your head. Like, it's in your head. Your swords and your cords live all throughout your body in different ways. And it's healing those different parts of you that's more than just your mind. Of, like... And when you're feeling in Reiki, like you're literally, like you're moving along the chakras, and like you will literally feel like, it will feel like pain in certain areas, like in your body, or like you'll feel a sword, or you'll feel the cords, like they feel like these like spaghetti noodle, like.
Yeah.
But it's not just living in your brain and your thoughts, like it could be living in your throat, and like that's something that like you're either not saying something you need to say, or like you're holding a voice back that you need to be giving out loud, or like if you find something in like your sacrum, like, you know, that could be a past wound that like you're holding actually at the center of your body. And you know, so like there's different meanings to like where it's found, but that's why it's like holistic healing. Is people think it's like, no, I do like the mental work, but it's everything's connected even throughout your body.
Sure.
And it's like, you need to focus on your voice, and focus on your heart, and focus on your body, and like, you know, like the knees and the feet. Like if you feel it in the feet, it's like a sign that like you're stuck in something, or like you need to move, or like, you know, it's that tension in those cues are held all throughout the body. It's not just in your brain and in your heart. And so I think that's what's been really interesting to me, is like, it's truly your entire being that you have to work on that healing. And yeah, for distance stuff, you do it the same as like if a person's with you, like you can either lay out like your crystals or whatever, but like I tap into like you, and you can be for, and I can like literally, and like I just move up through your body the same as I would if you were in person. And then when you feel those different things, that's what we focus on for the healing. And like it's crazy, like I get really hot, like I can feel, like it's like I can feel it inside me. And so then based on what's wrong, like you either like break up that energy, or you pull it out of that person, or you redistribute it to a different part of the body, because a weird energy in one part of the body could actually be useful energy in a different part of the body.
So we're talking about energy blockages.
Yes.
Like cooped up energy.
Yes.
That can be redistributed.
Yeah. Or cooped up damage.
Sure. It's almost scar tissue energy. And It needs to be kind of massaged out.
Yeah. So yeah, you find those, and then you will feel when the area starts to become healed, because it changes entirely in its feeling. And so like when I was practicing on Rachel the other day, I kept getting drawn to like her heart. And so like rose quartz is meant for the heart, and so I literally took it and was like kind of like scrubbing, like I just felt it needed to be kind of like broken up. And like I'm not talking, like, and she has her eyes closed, right. And she like literally as I'm doing that, she was like I don't know what just came over me, but I feel like there's things like loosening up in my chest right now. And I was just like, holy fuck. Like she was like, wow, like something just totally shifted, because I could feel that like that's what needed the attention in that moment. And then it starts to dissipate, and it starts to get neutralized again.
Neutralized.
Yeah, back to like a state, right. Like that connectivity. Yeah. Yes. And that's why I kind of like, I would say it's not an emptiness, it's a neutrality.
I like it.
Approaching everything with a neutrality.
Yeah.
And that state of equilibrium is when we're like our most balanced self is our quote unquote happiest self. And people think we also tie balance to like, oh, I got 8 hours of sleep and I had a healthy breakfast, right. And I went on a run today. And it's like, just because you do those things doesn't mean you're balanced.
Right.
And I think that's where so many of these, and like that's why I keep going back to this concept of like the work of like, it's more than just checking boxes. It's like a true, like, are you actually balanced in your soul? And feel which parts of your soul are not balanced. Everyone's always like, oh, I'm heartbroken, or like, oh, my mind's racing. Like, it's always kind of those two focuses, but it's like, where in your body are you actually feeling unbalanced? Because that will tell you more of like what's actually going on in your head than the thoughts themselves.
Yes. Woo. Woo. Yeah.
Woo. That was a good one. Yeah. So I think that's probably the best lesson I learned from Reiki is like, because I was one of those people of like, oh, like negative thoughts today, or like, oh, I'm sad. Like, yeah. Instead of actually looking inward and trying to understand like what is actually unbalanced today, or in my whole life, or in general, like. It's also not a today thing. And like I think that's what I learned from Swords and Chords is like it could be something from a long time ago, or like something you've been pushing down, but then it presents itself in a different way, so you think that's the problem.
Right.
When in actuality that's just like a small residual effect of this other thing. And so it's everything being in balance is actually the healthiest piece. And it's not like I drink, like I party, I like don't get enough sleep, but I feel balanced versus the person that's like, oh yeah, I had my smoothie for breakfast and like whatever, and like they're the most like put together like spiritually people that I know.
Yeah.
Like they don't even know themselves, but they know that they checked all the boxes today, so they're balanced.
Right. Yeah, I've had one of my teachers talked about sleep as a releasing of resistance. So the less that you're in resistance in your walking around state, the less sleep you actually need.
Yes.
So
exactly.
So that's a great point that you just made. It's not about checking anything, but it really is about just being non-resistant.
Yeah. And I think that's also why I even try to stray away. Like I talk this way without even bringing up the Reiki piece, because I think people also be like, oh, that's witchcraft, or like whatever. Like it's like, no, these are life things that you need to know.
But it's not the words either. It's your radiance. The words are just really entertaining at a level, like especially as a Reiki work. I mean, you're embodying an energy, and you're trying to use the voice. I mean, well, I don't want to project this on you. Well, what I'm always trying to do is I'm trying to use the voice to help the energy resonate with the other, so that they turn inward too, so that they can experience the state that I'm in for themselves.
And that's how I do my spoken word. Is it's like I am trying to put you in a place where you hear those words in your context, but like you're putting yourself in that place in your own way.
Yes.
My words are just the vessel.
Exactly. Yeah.
you choose how you feel and see and move about that vessel. But I'm not projecting my words onto you. Like, listen to this. It's I'm putting you in a state of thinking,
right,
or a state of reflection.
Yes.
That you choose how to use them.
Yes.
And saying, like, I think that's how, and I think that's a big lesson I learned too, is like being a voice person, like being a talker, and even just like with my poetry and stuff, I've always thought like, oh, you have to like tell people these things so they understand. Whereas Reiki has taught me to just be about those things so people understand. You don't have to say a word.
No.
And I've always equated like, oh, I have to like say like I'm a positive person, or I bring light, or like or let me tell you how amazing you are. Like, I've always equated that to like you have to speak it in order for people to understand. And Reiki has taught me that energy is just being it.
Yeah.
And I don't have to say a single word to a person, but when they pass by, like they just feel it, even walking by me. They feel that breeze.
That's right. It's almost, I call it a fragrance.
Yes.
It's just kind of like.
And it's that like you can be that person without projecting it onto people.
Just be it.
Yeah.
It shapes my world when I'm being it.
Yes. And I always try to be like something, like my favorite way of putting this is like, if someone's waitress is like rude to them or whatever, and it's like that person's like, oh, that waitress is so rude, like, so I'm gonna be rude back. Whereas my standpoint is like, maybe that waitress needed some love today, so like I'm gonna be like, I'd be like, hey, like, thank you so much for bringing the check, like I really appreciate you, like, and even if she's still like mean, but it's like, be what you want to see.
Yes.
And like if you want the waitress to be nice,
say that again. Be what you want to see. Woo.
So if I don't, instead of me complaining about her being rude, I'm going to project the positivity that I wish I could have seen from her, because maybe that's actually what she needed.
Right.
Or at the end of the day, they go home and like, wow, like, or someone at the table next to me is like, oh, did you hear, like, she was just really nice to that waitress, and like, I should start being that way. Like, maybe I should say thank you to my waitress more often. Like, show what you want to see in the world. It starts with you.
It starts with you, right.
Even if it's never reciprocated.
Yes.
Just be it. And don't complain about not having it. Start being it.
And it shows up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it will slowly, you'll start to see more and more of it, because that's what you're putting out. Oh, I'm not getting promoted at work. Like, no, I'm just going to be the type of employee I would want to see, and I got promoted.
How does that work? Yeah.
Right?
Right.
It's like, be what you want to see.
Be what you want to see. Yeah. And teach what's been taught.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you'll have those of us that's done the work, or doing the work, which makes that road easier for those coming behind us.
And pass it on. Because it doesn't do any good just keeping it to yourself.
No.
And the reason we went through it is to try to help someone else, or at least know where they're coming from, to be able to talk to them about it.
Yeah. Wow.
You are already home.
You're already home.
Oh my God, that one like made me cry.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Whoa.
You're already home. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. You're already home. That's going to touch a lot of people, what you just said. I hope they pick up what you just put down.
I need to go home now.
Yeah, right. There is you're home.
Here, this is actually a perfect segue into my spoken word.
Oh, yes.
We have all come here today to spend time with our community, to take a moment of pause, to be outside, to be grateful, to breathe in the air and bask in the sun, replenish our soul with toes in the grass and echoes of fun. A moment to refill our cups and refuel our souls, to put things in perspective, to put the pieces back together. For every single day, We leave pieces of ourselves everywhere. We leave pieces of ourselves with those last dishes in the sink we knew we needed to finish. A piece with the check engine light looming over your head, an unforeseen bill you secretly dread. A piece with the kids as we drop them off at school, knowing each drop-off is another day they get older. A piece with the leaf you're not ready to turn over. A piece of energy given that now brings fatigue. A piece with each graduation into a new life chapter. These pieces we leave everywhere, each and every day. A piece for this, a piece for that. A currency of the soul, distributed in hopes of becoming whole. But the irony being, for every piece we give away, someone or something is receiving that part of you. So if we didn't focus on the piece itself, what would you want someone to receive? What piece of your presence brings value to that economy? Like a puzzle, we are a picture of the pieces we put into place that allows us to be built from everything within our space. Pieces you leave are the priceless moments left in your wake. What we give from our soul is the impact we make. You leave a piece of yourself as you thank the grocery store cashier, or the smile to the person you pass by on your walk. A piece of ourself is a volunteer, an advocate, a community steward. A piece with the person you stop to compliment their art, or a piece with the person you stop to ask, hey, how is your heart? A piece of yourself in the door you stop to hold open. A piece with that childhood friend you'd climb trees with in the park. A piece with the summer drive home, streetlights passing in the dark. Or a piece of energy received from a soulful interaction. Or the piece of music that connects to your core. A piece with a dear friend who was once someone you hadn't met before. A piece every time laughter is shared. A piece with each did you get home safe text. Pieces and moments you knew someone cared. The key in the meaning of the pieces we leave is the presence we felt in the story that they weave. The pieces we find and the pieces we receive. For each moment of pure presence, there is nothing to lose. All it proves is we are all connected by the pieces we give. A community is a collective of pieces, an interwoven ecosystem of patchwork souls. The universe is tied in something we all share, in those pieces of ourselves we leave everywhere.